It looks different.
Okay, so today will be the is that the fourth or is it the fifth session? I think it's the fifth session. Yeah, it's the fifth session of our HTML and CSS class. And as you can see, is it the fourth? It doesn't matter. Okay. This is the same page we've been building. What I added is actually, I just cleaned it. Somehow adding some font type, font size, and some padding and some margin. And now it's much better than what we had, right? Of course,
Yeah.
someone like a graphic designer like Kirsty, when she touches it, it will be even more better because she knows how a good design looks like. Yeah. Yes, people are fighting. It's the fifth and it's the fourth. I believe it's the fifth lesson. So, or the fifth week. And today, actually, we will work on the previous code we had, and we will try to make it look like this. As you can see, it's now polished. Everything looks somehow uniform. We have the social buttons, and we have a button here. When you click it, it takes you to the top. And if you click the about, it has some about section, contacts. The contact form is now a bit clean. And as you can see, you can submit, but it doesn't go anywhere. This, to submit the data, you have to connect this with a back end, right? And then the projects you wrote, if you remember, your projects using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then we wrote this. And then to know how to use a horizontal line, we just add this horizontal line just for the sake of learning. If you remember, you can use a border or to make this. You don't have to use just horizontal line. And then if you remember this, to display in block, in line block, we made these circles. And then also if you remember how to embed the audio, as you can see the podcast, if you play just it's the sample. This test recording. Oh no. Okay, just the same voice you hear now. So we had two audios, short audios, and then also we embed actually a video. So you remember it's so easy to embed a video. So I think this is what it had on this page. Yeah. Okay, now this is something I did, so I will close everything and then we will work on the file we been working together. So I go to the desktop, and if you remember, I think this is the folder we've been working on. So if I run this, open with live server. How about now? By now you should be very familiar. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, now we change this to the one we had there. No, we don't change it much, just we add some CSS. So in the meantime, actually, I wrote something. I mean, the topics, the outline on, I think I have to copy and bring that from, what is this called? Copy message? No. On Telegram. Okay, maybe I can do it differently. Copy. And then I put it here. I will take some notes. What are we going to learn today? We learn today, don't worry about this, okay? I'm using just different today, the following. So we will make table because you don't know how to make a table, and we learn form, but we have to finish the form. Font awesome. Actually, I taught already font awesome. Font awesome means this one different icons, and we implemented already. So we covered it. It's not important to talk about again font awesome. We will learn Google Fonts, how to add different Google Fonts, CSS all over again from scratch, and then CSS box model, colors, different kind of colors, color by name, color by RGB, color by hexadecimal, okay? Font family, font size, and then display block and inline, and inline block. Then we learn position. It could be static, relative, absolute, fixed, and sticky. Yeah, correct. These are the topics which we are going to cover today. Okay, so once in a while I go to these notes to check the topics which we are going to talk about. So I think it's better if I put it to the other side. Yes. I think I would like to start from Google Font. So if you see what I have already, is just the same kind of font, right? So maybe you want to have a different font, yeah? So in that case, you may need a font. If you are a graphic designer, or if you have been in the design industry, you know how much padding or margin or what font size to use. But if you are just came to this course, what you should know is actually adapting what experts use. For instance, you may search what are the best Google fonts. You may just search, and some blogger already wrote about it. For instance, as you can see, 20 best Google Web font words, the 40 best, something like that. So adapt what experts use, yeah? And then you will be just transformed to be an expert because you are using what experts are using. But if you are a graphic designer or someone who has been in the design industry, just use your previous experience to make use of those. So now let's go to Google Fonts. When you just write Google Fonts, this will come, right? I will just give you some time and then you will have a chance to follow me. I will try to be as slow as possible and then you will have a chance to follow me, right? No need to rush because what it matters is actually how much you absorb and retain from this lesson. Okay, let's click it. For instance, I like Roboto. Roboto is here, but if you also let me just, it has some categories as you can see. Serifs and sans serifs and monospace something. It all are ticked already, but you can also, but I want to just search all kind of font types. Language, I just like to keep it the default. I also like to just keep this also the default, but as you can see, you can adjust the parameters. Featured, the featured means, yeah, the most featured one here. And then again, browse. When you browse, it comes like this. I think I can make it maybe full, right? Then you will have a chance to see it. Yeah, when you just browse, it's quite a lot. So you can just see. And then actually this, the one, you can also search by most popular. Yeah, as I told you, for instance, Roboto is most popular. Let's select the most popular. Roboto, it has 12 styles. Open Sans 10 styles. Noto, Lato, Montserrat, Roboto condensed. It goes. So I think I'm interested in some of these. And how do we select them? Let's do click. You click over here, and then you select. For instance, I am not going to make very thin, but I'm interested in this. Select. And then again, 400, 500. It's okay. If it's 500, do we have 6? Maybe I go 500 and then 900. Good. So I selected here. I will keep it that. Maybe also I may need another font. Again, you go to Open Sans. Maybe now I'm Open Sans. Okay, let's go for Open Sans. It looks the same, but 300 is good. 400 and again 600 here. I go, it doesn't have, okay, I go for this. Another more style, because we may change our mind, you know. Lato is also good. Let's select Lato 300, Lato 400, maybe 900. Another font again, another font. Which one? Montserrat. I like this one. I use it most of the time, so I go for 200, 300, 400. I may go 600 and 900 if there is. Yeah, there's 900. Because, you know, if we have different font, then we can have a chance to select. This, it's somehow similar. I also like to Oswald 300, 400, maybe 5 and 6, and it's almost the same. Again, I will share this, you don't have to do this with me. I can share this link with you, okay, later, after I finish. And then Poppins is also very nice. And okay, I think I go up to, maybe you may want also light, 300, 400, and then 600 and 900. What font are we left? Of course, from the populars. We are selecting from the populars. As you can see, we chose also all the Poppins. I like also Rallyways. Okay. I go for this. I go for this. By the way, the reason why I'm selecting all this is it will help us to experiment with the different font. But finally, after you chose the best one, you stick 1 or 2 font. Okay, you don't need all these fonts. But now, since we are going to experiment to get the best font, also for you how to select best font, we are selecting plenty of them now. I think this is pretty enough for the time being. I will, okay, but let's see. It's enough. Then you select this, as you can see from here up to here. Copy, and then I take it at the top. Where? Here. For you, I will share with you on Telegram and also on the chat. Great. So how do we, as you can see, Google is so smart, it show us also how to use it. For instance, if it's roboto, roboto sans serif, ralloy sans serif, popin sans serif. Yeah, for instance, let's try by selecting this and apply to. After this, we don't need this anymore, okay? But let's make this back. Now, if we style, do you remember our style sheet here? Our style sheet is here, style. Okay, let's select the body. Body. Yeah, maybe if you forgot, we have only one body, so I'm selecting it by name, by tag name. If you remember, whenever to select tag name, and then we need a curly bracket, and then, for instance, it could be font family, and then now I am applying this font family, sorry. The font family, and then the value, as you can see, and you need actually a curly, what is this, a semicolon by the end. And now the tag name, I am interested to select the body. As you can see now, the font type is actually different, right? Yeah, it's different. Because since we have selected lots of them, let's change this to Poppins. Poppins, it didn't change much. Poppins, how about Oswald? Oswald? Why? I think I was expecting some change. Let's see. Do we have Oswald? Yeah, we have Oswald.
You have a little after the word Oswald. Do you see the, I don't know, how do you call it here? The little dot, I don't know, it's not a dot, but
this comma?
yeah.
Actually, it's okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's, but it should also. Okay. Did we select the Oswald properly? Let's hear Oswald. Maybe when I'm writing it, I may not. Sometimes you never know. Okay, sometimes if something is overriding, let me just try to. Oh, look, strange. Okay, let me try the Poppins also, maybe Poppins. Okay, what's wrong with that? And the robot worked, and let me try the Rai. All the other fonts are not working for some reason. Why? Let me try here. Font size, font family. For instance, Lato. We have a Lato. Is everything okay here? Then how Roboto works? Oh, no, even Roboto even is not Roboto. Okay, nothing is working. What's wrong? Okay, it's working. Roboto. Also, is that also? then Poppins. It's not Poppins, I'm sure. Let's see how, maybe if it's different. Poppins, yeah, this is how a Poppins supposed to be written, right? Oswald. Maybe I have to launch this again. Maybe if it's not refreshing it live. Yeah, I think it was not refreshing it. Yeah, for some reason. Have you seen now? Now this is for sure Poppins. Let me try Oswald. Yeah, sometimes it may not directly update when you change something here. Now it's working properly. If you see Roboto, this is the Roboto type. And actually it's not only the title, since I am applying for the body. Since you apply the body, it changes the whole text. Have you seen? The whole text. For instance, I'm interested to make everything Poppins. And then I will, yeah, it could be Poppins. Or if you change it to Lato, the Lato one. And maybe what was the end? If you forget what you have, as you can see, Lato, Montoserrat, Open Sans, Oswald Poppins Railway, and again, Roboto. How many times do we select Roboto? Lato? Yeah, once. Okay, so great. Maybe we didn't check railway. This is, what's your favorite so far, guys? Let's speak. Let her speak, the designer. What do you say? Which is your best font family here? Carola said already Poppins. Okay. How about Kiersey? Poppins. Or you don't have any good font type?
Sorry, I'm a little bit behind and so tired today. I'm not so.
So active. Okay, I will slow down. Okay, I will try to slow down a bit.
No, it's okay. It's just I'm so tired today that I try to just keep up.
Okay, good. Yeah, so now we covered Google Fonts. So Google Fonts is so easy. You come here and search any kind of Google font you want, you search it, whatever. For instance, if you, Carla, yeah. Yeah, this one is also very good. And then you select whatever you want, and then you do this, and you go here, and you take the code. Yeah, great. Then we have covered font family.
Does it work in all the pages? Because I can't get it work on my projects page. It only works on my index page.
No, it doesn't work because the reason why, if I show you also now, I think we're using Poppins and it works on the first page.
Yeah.
If I go to this page, it doesn't work because it's not yet attached there. Yeah, I think it's not refreshing. Yeah, as you can see, this is Poppins, but this is something different. So we have to put that to every page. Let's do that. So you have to share this link to the others. For instance, for the about, about, and then contact, and then to projects, because we have these links. Yeah, we can put it here. It doesn't matter actually. It doesn't specific position, but you can put it anywhere inside the head. Great, but by now we should have you see now it's updated. Yeah, now as you can see we have this form. Yeah, this contact me. Let's improve this contact me, the form. Yeah, let's go and the contact page. If you remember, whenever we want to write a form, we need this, the input field. Input field just creates an input field. Let's see the input. Have you seen? It creates. Guys, I told you don't write anything outside the HTML, even while I'm writing, because I'm teaching you a bad habit. Let me put it here at least, even before the footer, even inside the main. Okay, if you write something like this, you get this. Just only writing this input field, input HTML element creates an input field. I will show you again. Maybe I think it's better to put it the other side and this to the other side. Please keep it here. But it needs placeholder. It's not a must. For instance, I call it age. As you can see now, we can have a placeholder, but we may also add a label. So we can write a label like this, label, and then your age, as you can see. But to make more efficient, when I'm clicking here, it should take me here. Let's see if this takes here. Let me click, as you can see. Yeah, it's active. Yeah, the field is focused now. Focused. But this is not focused yet. It's the message. We can make it also. How do we make that? Actually, where was I? I can give this an ID. ID, I call it age because it's related to age. And then I give the same, no, sorry guys, not ID, instead for, and then I give it an ID, the same with the value you have in the for attribute. So I call it age again. Why this extra A? Age. Now, if I click on here, have you seen it? Get focused. Great. By the way, this can take name. I can give it also again the same age. It takes lots of attributes, but for the time being, we just want to just keep it a bit short. What is the type? The type we want it to be, for instance, text. By default, actually, even without adding this, it's a text type. It's text. But if you change this to number, number, it will be different. Have you seen? No, it's a number. If you just write something like this, a number, does it allow text? It doesn't allow you to write text. Yeah, it's not allowing me. I'm trying to write a text, but I can't. But if I write a number, it takes, because the type is a number. Can we change this to a checkbox? Yeah, we can write a checkbox, for instance. Input, the type, if you change the type to check box. Have you seen this checkbox? So you may break, because I want it to be in the different line, checkbox. And then I may add a label, and I call it, do you agree? First, agree with the policy by clicking the checkbox. Have you seen this? Now I can just agree or something, policy you can call it, and then also I can give it an ID here, agree. If you see, if you click here, what did I made a mistake? Input type checkbox ID agree, but this doesn't seem. Yeah, as you can see, it should be 2, or if you write here, yeah, by just clicking here, I managed to select. This is the checkbox. And even you may have more checkboxes. For instance, I mean, what are your skills? And then maybe you may say input, and the type is going to be check box. And then you write the label here. And the label is going to be here HTML. And I want to call it HTML. And here also the value for, where is it? It's already HTML, but I want to give it ID. HTML, small. If it's small, you should make it small again there to attach. Now, if you see, if I click here, it will be selected. Sometimes it could be a choice, you know, a quiz. Then you want to just make it fast, click, click, click. And instead of only coming here, by clicking the text, actually you are selecting it too. So now I can duplicate this many times and then create some kind of, well, this is really tight for me. I have to make this a bit smaller and then make this also like this. So by multiplying by copy, and then I change this to CSS and change to CSS, and then this to CSS. The good thing in programming, once if you write for one thing, you can duplicate that. For instance, these are in one line, as you can see, in lines. So maybe you can use a break. The break allows you to create a new line. Yeah, it looks great. What else do you know? I think you know JavaScript too. JavaScript. Yeah, then you can change this JS, maybe just make it short JS, and I can make it JS to link, or you can make it. And then still, it seems we need a break, and then I have to make it something like this. Yeah, great. This is how you create. Even if you want to make it more, let's add the final. I think it's going to be React, and it will be the end for, oh, I think I modified. Did I copy? No, I think I didn't copy anything. So let me just, yeah. So now let's add break here. And we call this React. Let me see how is it written. Okay. Label. Yeah, it should be clean, right? It should be clean. Yes, this looks good. There's a break here. Good. Yeah, there's a break here. But there should be a break in here, right? We have one JavaScript here. Okay, then I think we should change this one to React and then React, but we have already React. We can change it to Redux, and Redux, it's another JavaScript library. Both are just JavaScript library. You don't have to know them, but it's just technology. So we have list of what are your skills, then you just select them all whatsoever. Yeah, now let's we call this check boxes. And now maybe I think you want to also interested in the gender of that person. What's the gender of this applicant, maybe, you know? So a person can have only one gender. Yeah, either a male or female or other gender type. You can't be different gender at the same time, right? Yes, I think some people are asking me to share today's code. Yes, this is what we wrote today. Maybe if you are behind, you just copy. Yes, I have shared on the chat channel. Great, now let's do it. What you just write is input and then do this. And then let's see, have you seen it's just by default input creates such kind of text field. But if you give the type, and I call it radio button, we call this the radio button. So to create the radio button, the type should be radio. Great. Again, let's add the label, and then I call it, I think it usually starts from female, and then of course you can change the order, female. Yeah, now we have the gender, female. Great. Now I want to have a break and then another input, and then the type is going to be again radio, and the gender again going to be label male. Yeah, as you can see, you have female and the male. Then another left, we're left with another gender, and there might be another that could be other type. No, type is not other, actually. radio, the button is radio type, and label, sorry, other, and the gender is also other. But I didn't give ID yet here. ID is other. Yeah, so now as you can see, you can also select this. It's not selecting. Yeah, because I didn't attach it. So male, so you go to here, ID, female. You can give it a different name, but the name should be like consistent with what you do, because this is responsible for female gender and the ID is female. It makes sense, right? Yeah. So your code should speak by itself. Yeah. And then ID here, so I can call it male. Now I think it's connected when I'm clicking this. Oh, I think, what am I doing? Female. Label for male. Yeah, we don't need the ID here. The ID should be the ID. I have to break that. Okay. This is for female. Yeah, the problem is the ID should be here. ID. Okay, ID here is a male.
Does the radio, does it mean you can only select one?
The radio means just to select this radio button.
Ah, okay. Oh.
The checkbox helps you to create this. The text allows you to create this text area. So you use the same input element, but by changing the type, you can change the type of the input type. This is type text.
Yeah.
This is type number, it takes number, and this is checkbox, these are checkbox, and these are radio buttons. Of course, if we are using radio buttons, it usually we select one thing, right? But now we managed to select all of them. It's wrong, so we will fix it. But checkbox allow us to select multiple items. Yeah, we will come to that. But radio means just this, the circle button. Radio. Okay, good. Let me refresh to remove the. Anyway, this is now working and working. Okay, so to we have to give name for what is the name here. Actually, we call it gender. Gender. So since all are genders, let's apply for the name for the input, gender, and then I call them gender. Have you seen now by applying the same, because I gave them different, I gave them the same name because this is responsible for gender female and male and other. Now if I am selecting the other will be inactive. This is active and this is active. Yeah, so you have to give it a name. Okay, great. Now what are we left with? What are we left with? Actually, we are left with selection. Sometimes you might have seen to select something. For instance, country where select your country, or maybe course country. Select your country, and I'm interested to select. This is to select to select items. We use the select HTML element, and inside we need to have an option. For instance, let's start from Finland. Have you seen this? But we have just only one field, just Finland. So I think what you should do is just you duplicate this value, and you remember I usually use just some countries. If I start from Finland, I just go to Estonia, and then again Sweden. And everybody from Python or JavaScript course know my examples, but let's do here. Finland, Estonia, Sweden, and then again, why not for Norway? Okay, and then Denmark, and it will be the end. Denmark. Now, as you can see here, you can select Denmark or Sweden. And yeah, this is, but you should also give value. For instance, this, we can call it name country, and I can give the ID also just country. This one, it is going to be Finland. You can make it capital or small. Let's put Finland. Sweden, Estonia. Now I can't talk much about this, the value, but when we learn JavaScript, these values are important. But for you, for now, just let's know that it takes a parameter like a value, and it doesn't affect anything. You don't see what's happening by writing this. But when Denmark, great. What are you left with to make this form complete? This is not anymore a contact form. It's going to be an application form, okay? And then we have to just change even the name to an application form. Please change the name, application form. Yeah. Okay. So these are, every of them are in line. So instead of even using a breaking line, I want to now arrange them somehow in a kind of a order. I want to put them in a div, separate div. Yes, this is one of, and another I can go this, and then I put this one to a div, organize them. Okay, what is this div here? I don't need this div because it seems just random for me. If it's taking care of this and this one, it seems just also for me, just div. Okay, these are for the company. Okay, if you remember when we click on this message, it doesn't select this one. So let's fix now here message. And then if we add an ID here, ID. So what do you think the ID is going to be? Tell me, I'm just message. How can we somehow, okay. I think we don't need this div, I can imagine. Okay, now I'm wrapping everything in a div. And also now, instead of break this one also, I will wrap everything in a div. Yeah, using div is much formal than using break, okay? I can just div, and also this has to be inside the form. I will put it here. Okay, another one. I can put it here, div. And what is your skills? I need it just div. I can change them here, and I'm grouping them, by the way. Div, now you understand the purpose of div, right? It just creates a division for you. Yeah, I think it's better just to remove all of them once, all the breaking lines, and change them to, yeah. I can have this also here, div. I can have here. Now I'm just going from I think I don't have to. This one could be just in one line. This could be just in one div. And this could be the skills. The skills could be from which one is the skills? Oh no, this should be, the skills could be just, all the skills could be in one div. But still, maybe I think for the skills, it's just okay to have a break instead of. Now, what I'm doing is actually polishing, guys, so don't be surprised. This is just, we made it, and you polish or refactor. The proper terminology actually is refactoring your code. And now you don't leave your code here, you take it all to the form. Yeah, it should be inside the form. Where shall I put this? Maybe I can put it here and rearrange later. And you may not have this code just to be at the same page, I will share with you the form, all the codes I have so far. I think this is okay. Then where is that? Latest code. Great. And if you need also, I shared with you both on Zoom and via on Telegram. This is what we have, the application form, first name, last name, email. As you can see now, the email. Is that email type? Let's check the email, by the way, because email has a type. Where is it? Yes, it's an email type. Great. What is the password type, by the way? Okay, what do we write on the VS Code if you want to insert the whole countries in the world? Yes, that's very good. Very good. The whole countries in the world. I will show you. Does the MERN show, for instance, the MERN? Let's see. But until the MERN open, I will show you. I will take you to GitHub, to my account, and then to countries or 30 days of JavaScript. For instance, I may have the data. Countries. First, you have to have such list from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, and you have to create an option, a way to put it this. Using JavaScript, using HTML, it will be a bit tedious to make it, but with a JavaScript, it will be so easy. Right away, you can create this. Yeah, so for instance, if you go to apply students, as you said, nationality, actually, you have all the countries from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. So you have to have a list like this first. And with JavaScript, it will be easy to put it. But if it is with HTML, you have to do it manually, one after the other, the way we did for this. Yeah, it's so tiring. So you have to do it how many times? 197 times, because the number of countries are here. It's 195, but I think they are about 197 or 98. Okay, so yeah, thank you for such an amazing question. Let's move on. How does it look like now? Yeah, for instance, if you want to change this a password, so there are different time, okay? Date of birth, instead of actually your age, how about if we change that to date of birth? Where is it? Age? I can't see it anymore. Okay, here, as you can see, let's do div input type, and if you say actually date, the date type, it gives you this, so easy. Yeah, actually I just born, maybe yesterday, or you can just 2 days ago. Yeah, and you will be very young. Okay, great. So it's so easy to add. So there are lots of different types. Now maybe I think it's better to also add a label. Let's add label. I can call it date, and type, I mean ID, I can also call it date. By the way, you can add the attribute in any place. What did I forgot here? Yes, different. Okay, I forgot here, date of birth. Yeah, date of birth. So this is number type, and this is date type. Even I think date, even you can add time, the exact time, actually, date time. Okay, date with time type, HTML. So you don't have to remember, guys, everything. For instance, date time, but why it didn't work for me? Let me see. Date time didn't change. Okay, then actually, I think date time local could give us date time local give us with time. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Date time local. Is there any typo here? No, let's sometimes, if I don't trust what I wrote, I copy and replace it. Then I will be sure that maybe I think this is not updating. So what I can do, because during the font, really? But it should show, for instance, if you have seen also here, I think it's not this part. The time local. Date time local.
Was it input type? Is it?
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought I put it on the input type, but I put it in a wrong place and date. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Kirsi. You just saved my time now. If you put date time, it didn't bring any change, but if you add with a local, I think it will add also the time, as you can see, the hour, the minute, and the second. So of course, for birthday, don't put something like this, okay? No one cares about the time you were born, but just the big picture, the date is enough. But if it is event, the start of the event and the end, then that means very important. Yeah, let's, for instance, we are selecting this time, but you can change the time or manually or whatsoever. Okay, yes, I think we should also ask this applicant to add a file, right? It's important, right? The file is very important, so we have to ask this person to attach also a file name. So input, if you just change this type to file, it just allows you to select some images, okay? And then you can select image, and so it opens the browser. Yeah, it's opening it in a different place. Okay, I will show you how it's opening it. For some reason, it's opening it in a separate. Choose a file. Yeah, it's opening. So I can go to, for instance, I have on a desktop, maybe I have some images here. I go to the assets, I go to the image. Maybe I can select any of the images if I'm interested in HTML. As you can see, that it's selected. Yeah, now our form is getting better, right? So it's also good to take this down because that's formal to put this message down. So since we are actually putting instead of agree, be sure that all the information is yours and true. Yeah, be sure that all the information is yours and true. Yeah, I'm just adding some information there. Great. I think from my point of view, we are done with HTML form. If you know this, I think you will be able to develop an application form or any kind of form to handle user data. Do you have any question before the break? And after the break, we will learn about tables, HTML table. Up to that, let me just fix this. It should be in a different line. I think we forgot to add a break here. Not there. I should put it a bit down. Sometimes it's hard to see it. Yeah. Do you have any question before we have a 10 minutes break? Can you share with us the codes you wrote for date of birth? I think the best way of sharing for me, I will just share with you from top to bottom, and then you can select anything you want. Copy and share with. Here you have. And again, I will share with you on Telegram too.
But I think it's too long. Is it all in the chat?
Yes, on the chat, yes, I update, yeah, I edit it, I update it. So everything you have on the chat is the new code we wrote today. Guys, I think it's a good idea to have a break, and after 10 minutes, we will start over. Yeah.
I think there is not everything because it's too long. It won't work in the chat. I don't think the whole code is. Can you check? I think it's not the.
What I shared with guys, this, yeah, this is the whole code we wrote today. Up to here, right? Yeah, copy. And then maybe I can divide it. Latest code we wrote today. So just after that text,
I think it looks like there's maybe like a maximum amount that you can paste in the chat, so it actually
yes.
it won't give you the whole.
I think in that case you can have on Telegram already. Thank you. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's already in Telegram. Yeah.
Telegram works. Yeah.
Yes. Great. Yeah, it was cutting it. Yeah, I see. How about if we have the break right now and we will return? And if you have any questions, something it didn't work, you can ask after the break. Yeah. Great. See you. Welcome everybody. This is the second session of today's lesson. So as you can see that we are at the form, creating or building a form using HTML form tags like the input tag and the select tag and text area tag. Okay, so Motomi asked that why my this is selecting, not selecting only once, instead selecting two. Was it your question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the only thing what I can see, the difference between what you have written and what I have written was the slash. And I was wondering, is that makes it difference, or is there any other reason?
There's other difference too. Maybe I think you didn't notice the, if you see name, have you seen the name gender? Name gender.
Yeah.
Did you add name gender to all of them?
Yes.
I think this the reason why it allows us to select one thing is because of this name gender. If you write this properly, it should work. And you so your slash means this one. It should work without slash. That's not the problem. Have you seen? But
yeah,
I told you all the time, even though you see some codes on the internet without a slash, I am not asking you please use slash, okay? Slash is more, yes. Yeah. This is really good. For instance, break, you can write like this, but please add a slash. This is more a validated way of writing. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I'm just wondering why, well, name, gender was written for everything, and still it can choose both or everything. So I was wondering what is really wrong.
I think you should get closer and look your code and compare. But if you don't manage to see it, do you know what you should do? And replace this just by copying. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to see what the difference. Yeah, it could be minor difference, but you should have, if you have this, the name, gender everywhere on the input.
Yeah.
Not on the label. It should work.
Yeah, label, input type, radio, ID, male, name, gender, label for male and male. No, that was written for a female and others, but well, never mind. I will try to take a look closer later.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So guys, now you have a very good form. It handles first name, last name, the email. Maybe this is not something important for an application form, the person's country, and leave your message here instead. Also, maybe you can say leave additional information, whatever here, and then it will be a very good application form. Yeah. So what else we missed related to a form? Maybe I think it's very good to inform you some of the available form like this input. Even it takes color, by the way. If you pass a color, it allows you to select different colors. Yeah. Because the reason why I'm showing you here, when I ask you some exercise, I mean something to solve during the JavaScript lesson, the coming lesson, it will be hard for you to figure out where is it coming from. Actually, you don't do much. You are just using that input, using a type color, and then you get this. Yeah, so you may ask label, a color, and maybe you can call it your favorite color if you are asking people their favorite color to put, but it doesn't make sense. But I'm just telling you, for different purpose, you may need this thing. And an ID also color. Yeah. Great. Yeah, I'm selecting this, and you can select any color you want. Yes. And then whatever, maybe, yeah. Great. I think, well, we are done with this. Now let's move on to table. Okay. Maybe I can call this also, as I told you, it's very good to structure your code in some format or some manner, so I can put this everything inside such kind of maybe there is a div here. That's good. Actually, I can call it a section. There's no much a difference between a div and section, but section is a semantic element. So I can just put it here inside another section, and then I will create, call this one HTML table. Yeah. So we're about to create an HTML table below. So you need the table here. Yeah. Inside the table, what do you need? Actually, most of the time we need the header, right? Name, and after some time, age, maybe gender, right? And country, something like that. Yeah. And then after that, name, for instance, ASAP, age 150. Oh, come on. Gender, male, country, Finland. Does it sound kind of a table, right? Yeah. I need interaction, guys. I feel lonely if you don't say anything. Just don't make me feel so lonely. So, guys, what do you think about this? It has a kind of a table feature, right? As you can see, it has a header and the values. These are the cells, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So if you see, this is one cell, another cell, another cell, and another cell. Together, this, you call it? Tell me. A row. A row. A cell. A single cell. So actually, table has table head. Okay. Inside the table head, we can create table row. In that table row, we can create TD. That means the cell name. How many cells do we have here?
4.
4 cells. Great. TD. And then age. And if you again TD and the gender, I think it's much better if we put it like age. And then again TD country. Now just let me ignore about this data for some time. We may have some, have you seen name, age, gender, country? Great. So I managed to create actually the head of the table. So let's create also the body, table body. Inside the table body is something that what we write actually the cells. Row, I have to create a row, and inside the row again, TD, my name, and then next TD, actually age, because it has to be the same structure like that, 250, and then TD, not capital, TD, and male, you can, and again TD, going to be Finland. Does it look like a kind of a table? Yeah, it looks like actually.
It looks like, yeah.
Okay, so after this, maybe we can add, after this, what you do, you just copy, duplicate this value, and you can say here C, and the name, sorry, aged. I'm not sure, but it's okay. Okay, Finland, and as you can see, and then again, if we change this, I can call Baptiste. Sorry for my and
Almost snores.
I can make it Baptiste. Is that
Yes, perfect.
okay? Because I write Thai fast, you know.
Yeah, that is.
Male, and then it starts with F like Finland and France. And as you can see now, oh, why? Surprise, he's 2 years old, surprisingly. Maybe 20 or 20. Why? Just let's make him. Okay, as you can see, we have now some data now. But as you can see, tables usually need border. A table to be called a table, it has to have some kind of a border. So let's go to our CSS. And as I told you all the time, when you work with also CSS, maybe it's better to have just some kind of comment, table CSS. Then it will be easy to find the CSS part of that section. Then you just call it table and border 1 pixel solid, and I call it gray just for the time being. Grays. Oh yeah, not bad. How about if we select the table row also? We didn't manage to select the table row, but let's see table D. I mean, that is the cells. Yeah, it looks like almost now a table. And then actually border collapse. Oh no, border collapse. Collapse. Have you seen now? We changed it to a table. So we don't need that. The borders, if you have seen now, there was a gap. Have you seen these gaps? We want to collapse them. To collapse those borders, you just use border collapse and then collapse. You don't have it. But as you can see now, it's not a good idea to have this in one. We just, this one border, 1 pixel solid, gray, and okay. Border collapse, let me see. 1 pixel solid gray. Okay, so do I have to select them together? Okay, TD, yeah, I have to select them together. Oh, no, this one is collapsed, by the way. Oh, okay, so now, but we want to make the table maybe full, this table is so tiny, as you can see, yeah? So you can use the widths, maybe 75% of the viewport, yeah? It's getting bigger. Or you want to make it 100% and it will be full, as you can see. And as you can see that, maybe you may want to have the align at the center. TD, text align center, for instance, it's to the center, yeah? But still, if you have seen, this is the header, right? This is the header. And the header text and the other cells text are the same. Let's make it different. Actually, in HTML, we have a way to, which part did we work? Where we were in the contact, sorry. So we can use this instead of TD. Actually, we change them to TH. Why am I selecting that? I want to just select this. Okay. How about TD? Yeah, instead, how about TH? Have you seen the TH?
Could you remind me how to write in multiple lines?
In my case, Control D is working. I'm not sure if it's working for Finnish keyboard. Let me try again. As you can see, first you select it, and then Control D, and then just you press D while you are pressing Control. And now I removed and then TH. Yeah, now as you can see, the header is actually somehow bold. So yeah, and actually you can even add table footer, but you don't have to. For instance, if you have some kind of accounting, After you do all the calculation, you may add the sum of something, right? Yeah. But yeah, we don't need it. So, but just to remind you that there's also a footer. Yeah. Oh, great. Now we are done with forms and tables. This is what you can have. But as you can see, the table is a bit, and oh yeah, but there is something wrong. Have you seen it? The name is like, you don't see it, so we have to fix it. We have to go to the CSS and we have to add TH here. Now it's fixed. Name, age, gender. And I don't like also this the 100%. Maybe we just need only a kind of 80%. Yeah. And it has some, as you can see, it is attached to the footer. So you can add something. Margin. Margin what? Tell me. Margin what?
Bottom.
Yes, margin, because the bottom of this table. So I am adding margin bottom, maybe 30 pixel can help me to push this. And then again, maybe if I want to make this table to the middle, but still I think the 80% is too much. Let's have just 60%. And if I want this to the middle, I can say very easy, margin auto will help you. Yeah, but the margin auto override this. You can take that down. Yeah. Yes. Great. But instead of writing this 2 line of code, you can write 1. This is enough. So that means I can write 30 pixel top and bottom and horizontally auto. That means it will be fixed by itself and I don't need that line of code. Yeah. So I think it's enough for a table. This is what you can get. There's nothing more. Shall we move on?
Yep.
Sure. Yep.
Great. I think I don't have anything related to HTML. What we should continue now is just CSS. Yeah. We've been learning actually CSS so far, but not really like a kind of officially. So CSS. What is CSS? Tell me, guys. What is CSS?
Cascading style sheet, right?
Yes, so cascading style sheet. Yeah. And what does that really mean? What does that really mean? What does cascading mean?
It's I think it flows through or something like that. Cascade.
Something
To cascade.
flows, yes, flows from top to bottom in a kind of, let me show you what the cascading is. I mean, images.
Like different levels or something.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Images are good. A steep, usually a small fall of water, especially one of a series, something arranged or occurring in a series or in a succession of stages so that each stage drives from or acts upon the product of the preceding. Okay, that's enough. That is enough. An image, please. On a cascading sheet. No, not water, bro. Okay. We got this, not what I was looking for. Anyway, okay, even someone put some code here. I may just talk to you about this anyway. For instance, this is the CSS class. And as you can see, there is a curly bracket, and these are the CSS code. So if you select something here, it goes from top to, it goes top to bottom. The code executes top to bottom. What does that mean? I will show you here. Because I have this, and it's easy for me to show you. This very important concept, guys, you have to watch now. The body, for instance, now is, I want to say, font size of the body, the whole body, for instance, 60 pixel. Oh, that's too big, but maybe I think 32 pixel. Have you seen everything is big? And the color green. And everything might be green, as you can see. Yeah. Font size, maybe 12 pixel. What did you notice, guys? Did you notice something? And color. I will leave this for you. What did you notice?
The one line or the bottom lines overwrote the top ones.
Yes, usually that means actually it's cascading. Your code will be executed from top to bottom. And we had 32. First, it reaches here, but finally when it reaches here, the final will be the result, what you see. And it reads this one, but finally this will be replaced by this, and the last result will be the one you see on the website. Yeah, so it's a cascading which goes from top to bottom like a flow of water. That is cascading. So after this, if someone asks you, when you say, what is CSS? You may say, oh yeah, CSS is actually a cascading style sheet. Okay, what do you mean by cascading? Actually, you may say that the execution of the code just goes from top to bottom as in a water flow. Yeah, and usually something you write at the bottom is the result of the CSS, but don't duplicate. But by mistake, if you duplicate, it will be like, I mean, you will have this, but don't duplicate. Okay, for instance, I don't need this code, just I wrote it for you for demo. And now, but I think first what you should understand, this is how we select CSS. Tag name followed by two curly bracket, and then property, and then value followed by semicolon. Tag name. Can you tell me a tag name, for instance? Let's do tag name.
Header.
It could be a header like this, or it could be a footer, or it could be H1, or it could be P, or it could be A. These are tag names. So now let's learn how to select by just tag name, but it's not a very good way of selecting, okay? Now, how many, for instance, header, it's okay, we have only one header, but H1, we have lots of H1. So if you try, let's go to H1. So color of the H1, I want to be red. Now, I didn't, okay, it was not affected. Why? Maybe I might have used it somewhere else. Ah, surprise. Let's see again. Okay, at least it affected the other pages. I will. Okay, let's stick in here. Have you seen now? We have this rate, yeah, thing. Now, but this is not a very good idea because it selects all of them. But instead, you might be interested to select some of the a group of or some of the elements. So selecting by tag name is not a good idea. I have tried it many times. Even I try to avoid it even. Just let me tell you from my experience as a developer. I would love if someone told me this, like maybe 8 years ago. Even just avoid it even completely. Why? Tell me why I'm telling this. Why you avoid? The reason is actually, if you select by H1, this H1 might affect it somewhere else, and the code is not easy to reuse. But if you give just a very unique and just if you use class and ID, I think that code will be reusable. And this H1 is just a common name. There will be H1 in another page, and that will be affected. So avoid using that. For instance, to avoid this, I have seen here, for instance, I have, let's see, there are, let's, using a name like ID. Have you seen the ID and the name is actually its title? Okay, great. So try to do something like this. Yeah, ID. So what's, but if you have a plan to use, for multiple elements, you use class. For instance, if you remember, this box, this box, this box, this box, they do have something in common, and we gave them the same class. And the name of the class, actually, they called them at some point. What was the name of the class we gave them?
Box.
Uh,
Boxes or box, I don't remember.
Yes, the boxes part is actually here, the boxes, but actually we gave them, I think, sections at some point, and it were div, and then finally we came up with like a section, because section is already an HTML element, and removed it. So now today is actually a very good time to use of this again. I think, where is it? Is it here? Yeah, we can just give them a class, and we will learn also using how to class. Is it, which one is it? It's the front page or the landing page, you can call it. So actually it is, the section is still there. Have you seen? Yeah, section. If you see, this is, and now I don't like to call it welcome. Let's just web development. It's okay. Now we're about to start cleaning our code, right? And if you have seen also, we have inline styling. Have you seen this inline styling? Have you seen? Do you think, is it a good idea to write this code here?
No.
No. So you can just take it like this, cut it, and then I remove it, and then do it where I will?
In the CSS sheet.
In the CSS. And it's also good to put it at the top. And it's also good to have some comment header CSS, and it will be easy for me to maintain the code. So the way I wrote it's not good. First header by the name, and then So I can go to all the pages and remove this part. And also remove this part. Because now we are cleaning our code and making it look much better than before.
Sorry, so you can just, I don't know, you don't have to like put div or anything in there,
Where?
like header div or anything, you can just straight away,
Here?
it knows.
Here?
Yeah.
You mean you want to wrap everything you have inside? Undo.
I think I have been making it like extra complicated, but okay, you don't have to do anything. It just automatically, you have header on your contacts. So you can just on the CSS page, you can just.
You are asking me another div inside here, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, actually, if you put another div inside here, it will be a very good thing, and you are doing great. That's better.
Oh, okay, okay, great.
Because you don't have to, but much better. Because at some point, you will have a chance to just only change the background of this part, and you may change the size of this part, something. And even if you have seen, we have a div here, external div, which is wrapping everything here. And then as you can see, I would like to give it an ID for this. ID, I call it root or maybe wrapper. So everything is actually inside the root. Inside the root, we have header, and here, even inside the main section, I want to wrap everything I have in the main section. If I want, you don't have to, but you can. And then main div, and I can call this class or ID. You can call it class is somehow good. Main wrapper. And even instead, this one should go to for instance, this we have this already. Great. I think now, so since we start cleaning, let's just clean all the pages. We chose to have additional div. Undo. Please undo. Not up to that, but up to here. We call this refactoring, guys. You need to refactor your code once you write it, okay? It will not be like that forever. And we give this an ID or a class, and I call it root. And even I call this everything, this different section, I can wrap them together. Div, and I may call it a class or and main wrapper. That means it wrap the main section. But it's not a must, as I told you, and you don't need any style here. What is this style? I will come later and remove that. You don't need this style. And even it's good to call this one class, and I call it footer wrapper. Other developer, you may see other developers doing it differently, but I usually call the class header wrapper. So yeah, now I'm sure this is clean, and I can make it ID and root. I might be faster now, and don't be surprised because I'm doing the same thing all over again. So and no reason to slow down for this. Anyway, you will have the code on GitHub. div.class name is going to be header wrapper. Even you can write it faster, something like this. Yeah, and div.main wrapper. Yeah, you will learn different shortcuts. The more code you write, so class, and it's going to be footer wrapper. And then I think contacts, we will write the contact part and the speed of light. So I think class, and then header wrapper. It has already. Yeah. Footer wrapper. Sometimes your naming should be consistent, okay? I think we are left with on the project part, and now we need to put this together. div. Footer. No. Header wrapper. And ID root. And we have lots of things here, right? Yeah, I can see that. But up to where? Up to where? Here. And I call it div main wrapper and put that. You don't need inline styling, but React nowadays making it this even more popular. But it's okay, you will learn that. What's the other? Wrapper. Yeah, I think we managed to made everything similar. Yeah, now everything looks the same. So I think actually what you get is uniformity. Yeah, the problem sometimes, have you seen now at the top, on here I have just web development, but when I click this is also okay. But the contacts page got different, very large content. So the feeling, the user experience is not good. So it's also good to make your data somehow consistent and similar, okay? Yeah, for instance, just make this short. Yeah, now have you seen there's no much of difference there. Okay, great. But let's come to selecting by tag name. So guys, are you sure now you know selecting by tag name?
Yes.
Okay, let's see who doesn't know selecting by tag name, or how many of you know selecting by tag name? Just type 1 because that's very important. I can see.
You say don't use.
No, someone who knows. How do you know? But yeah, sometimes, but you should know. It's not about, yes, don't use it much often and try to avoid it. But do you know how to? For instance, I'm saying to avoid it, right? But I have used the body here. Have you seen it? Yeah, we have one body. It's okay. Header, we have one header. It's also okay to change it fast if it's needed. We can give it a name for the header also, but this is still a tag name. It's a tag name. This is a tag name, but it's better to use ID and class instead of the tag name. For instance, if you say just P and apply some style, font, size, something, you are just affecting all the P's, right? 25 pixel. Yeah, everything is bigger. But if you give ID or class, it will be easy to select specific HTML element. Is that clear? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now you know. And also now let's see a specificity of actually specificity, they call it. Specificity is actually CSS is specific to tag name and then ID and class. Okay, what does that mean? I have to take you to the let's go to this one, okay? Which part of why I don't see that? Why this was not affected by that? Surprise. Yeah, that's why the front page was not affected. Let's see what we have. The body.
But
Maybe.
have you linked the front page? Do you have the CSS?
I should have. That's what I believe. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe we have this right. I have no idea why this was not. Oh yeah, I figured out. Yes, that is true. Let me check again. What do we have here? Let me change this to section. And nothing is changing. Maybe because we are using this ID section one. The section one, what's background? It's but it deals with only the backgrounds. For instance, does it affect the? Yeah, this is the problem. That's why I was telling you that don't use any tag name, like somewhere you apply the CSS and you don't see it and you will have such kind of a problem, okay? Now I don't know why it's not changing. So let me try the color green. Does it change? Yeah, of course it's changed the whole, because this section is part of that. But now I'm trying to affect all H1 by selecting this. Maybe now I don't know where. If I just change to important, it affects this one. Important means when you want to override anything, so you can use the override. If you don't see some code affecting your HTML tag somewhere, and then you can use the important to override, but still it is not changing. Maybe this is not H1. Let's see if it's not H1. Oh yeah, I was wrong. It's H2. Yeah, this is H1. It's changed, but have you seen this? It's not H1. It's H2. Yeah. So I was trying to find something which is not there. H1. H1. Okay, even this one is H3 for some reason. H1, H1. Yeah, everything is selected like that. Okay. So because now H1, let me say this is important, not remove the important. But if you have seen this, for instance, this, what is it has a title. Have you seen it? It is here. It has a title. Because it was, but I think it should select the.
I think if it's more specific, the title is more specific than the H1, so that's why it overrides it.
You can see that ID is more specific. The okay, yeah, as you can see, the ID is more specific here.
Yeah, I think it's the most specific, right? It's
Yeah.
even more than class.
Yeah, I think yes. So ID is more specific. ID is more specific. Actually, inline is more specific.
Yeah, exactly.
And then ID, and then tag name, and then class. This is okay. Now, for instance, what does it mean inline, guys? So if you just write this instead style, and if we say color green, yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you are writing in the internal or external CSS. It doesn't matter. If you write any inline, the inline is specific. Okay, we know that. So now let's get back to the ID. Then, as you can see, we wrote the ID at the top, and then we write H1. It didn't override it. But if this was a class, let's change it to a class. To change this, just even the class was not overridden. Okay, let's just check specificity of CSS. This is somehow okay. Line ID class elements, and so this category includes. Okay. Yeah, this is somehow you have to repair because you forget such kind of delicate things. As you can see here, inline style is attached directly to the element to be styled. So this is more specific. And I believe the ID is next, and then the class, and then elements and pseudo elements. But this is something you have to try and you have to be aware of, because this is really very important. Whatever you write, you don't see the change. If you don't see the change, it is not because you don't know how to use HTML, I mean CSS, but actually it's because of the specificity. So you have to change it. Now, as you can see now, when I am using also the class, I don't need this. We don't need this also. We don't need. The class is also more specific. I didn't manage to override it. Yeah. Okay. that is
I think we already have, at least I have title color in not the bottom. What's the up? When you go up in the main CSS style sheet, just go
the main.
and do you have there? I have already hashtag title.
Hashtag.
No, you don't have.
You mean something like this?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's okay. Class, but we don't have any now, at least on the home page. Oh, what is going on here? It's already, even we don't have anymore this already a class, because class should be selected like this. Uh-oh. Yeah, have you seen? You are doing something like this, something you don't have. Yeah, because you don't have anymore. If you select it like this, and what I have now is, as you can see, is a class. So if it's a class, you should select it like this. That's why you see the rate. But if you change this to an ID, it should be selected like this. Yeah. Yeah, it's over. Both are overridden, as you can see. Okay.
The
Hmm?
ID and that class.
But now let's compare class and ID. It might be better. Let's give this a class also. And the class, we may call it, actually, the ID is going to be title1. That's much better. And I call it title, the class. And now, if you see, I can call it title1, and the title1, is it what it looks like? Yeah, this is title1. Oh, yeah, it remained the same. But if I select it by title, and the title color green, I will just also comment out this. As you can see, it is, the ID is more. Have you seen? Oh no, I think I didn't change it. Yeah, as you can see, the ID is more specific. Did you notice this, guys?
Yeah. Yes. Very cool.
Okay, great. Now let's compare with the tag by turning this on. Yeah, even the class is now more specific. But do you know, guys, we can select by attribute. We can add an attribute on here. Attribute, for instance. What kind of attribute can we add for this one? By the way, we can have a title attribute. By the way, title, don't confuse this title with the titles you see here, okay? I am going to use title, and I call this is tooltip. Tooltip is something you see when you hover, okay? Let me hover here. Have you seen it? So whenever you like to, for instance, usually this kind of attribute, you use it whenever you want to display on image. For instance, you embed an image, HTML image, but everybody doesn't know what this means. So you hover on it, and then this will show up. So this kind of tooltip is actually, attribute is more common on something you want to add additional information, okay? But now let's use it here. And we can select also by attribute, because we can select HTML, CSS, selectors. Tell me, say, tag name, yeah, ID, class, and now attribute. And even there is another different kind of combinators. Combinators. We will talk about combinators. So you know tags, now you know ID, class, and now we're trying to select by attribute. So how do we select H1? And then actually you go like, I think I forgot how to selecting by attributes. Yes. So there is different way. For instance, have you seen input type? Yeah, so I can go here. This is a bit delicate way of selecting what I tried to do. Yeah, but I think it's better if we apply that on another because attribute selecting here, this one by, at least I have never done it, but I can try it. Let me try it on, where is it? So what I'm trying to do is actually you select and then the name of the attribute title and then the value, some tool tip. Let me try everything off, and if we manage to select it, and then that means actually it's working. No, I didn't, as you can see. Let me just even make it shorter and tip. Yeah, actually I managed to select it. Have you seen it? It's selected. If you change this to green, if it's changed, because sometimes it's good to be sure. So this is actually a kind of selecting by attribute. So if we turn on H1 and color yellow, have you seen actually the attribute is also even more specific. Have you seen it? Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, even you just turn that on. Yeah.
How did you make that? You changed the code to comment just now.
Ah.
You did it so fast.
Control, I think control, how do I do that? Control shift, no, I think control and this, what is the name of this? I can show you keyboard because I don't know the name of.
Or do you know where to find those? Where can we find those shortcuts?
Yeah,
VS Code.
yeah. Oh, we will look for that. Yes. Do you see this key? This key. This key next to the shift. Do you see this?
Yeah.
This one. So in my case, I use the United States keyboard, and if I select and control that key, it changes it right away. This one. But the for Finnish keyboard, it might be somehow different. Yeah. Let's get back. But I think it doesn't take much until you get the shortcuts. The best way to do, you write it like this and make it like this, yeah? It will be okay. I think let me just undo more of the things here. Guys, by the way, did you understand what I have been doing this specificity thing?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, but I think I have to just see how many people understand specificity. Specificity. Did you understand the concept, what I was trying to convey? Did you understand specificity? Just one. I need one, because that's the way I move on. If not, I will just be stuck in here and talk about okay. The specificity, so I have to a bit explain. I can see that some people didn't understand. If you remember the definition of CSS is cascading style sheet. It goes from top to bottom. So if you don't know this specificity, sometimes you may cause some problem. Your code might not like work the way you want. So you should understand specificity. We can select by what? As I said, by tag name, but tag name is dangerous because it affects everything, yeah? And then another, we can also even use, this is the inline style. And the inline style is actually very specific, more specific than anything. Inline is more specific, and then ID, and then class, and next to class is, I think this is what is next to class is by attribute. If you want to compare, let's compare this again. Let's compare class and attribute. Because green, so I have to change one of these, maybe red. Wait. So if you change also the order, wow. How an attribute is more specific. Let's see. I also sometimes forget this specificity. As you can see, that the attribute is more specific because still it's green. I mean the class, when you compare class and attribute, the attribute is more specific. But we have, it's class, yeah. But if we change it to the ID, because our ID looks like this, yes, but it's not more specific to
Attribute.
Yeah, yes, ID is more specific. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yes, but it won. But if you compare attribute and class, attribute is more specific. Guys, this is very important if you want to be a web developer and a front-end developer. This is very important, but it's not difficult. It's so easy. It's just, even you don't have to remember this by heart. As you can see, even I have a hard time to remember all of the specificity. You will have a cheat sheet somewhere, let's cheat sheet for CSS specificity. One guy already, some awesome guy from somewhere might make already specificity. Okay. 100%. That's what I use. Even the CSS trick, this is a very common website for CSS, and even they already made something related to specificity, and even you can go and read. But now what's important is you have to know the concept of specificity, what it means. If you understood what I'm trying to do, it's just okay. Yeah, that's the point. You don't have to remember all the specificity, but now any guy, any person who was really following what I've been doing, who wants to summarize the specificity we covered, what is more specific? So tell me, guys. Yeah, I think, as I told you, the inline is more specific. Yeah. And then ID is more specific. And then when you compare classes next, but if you use by attribute, we have noticed that attribute is more specific. So we saw something like that. But most of the time we just use ID and class. We rarely use attribute. No much pressure. And I will not use also much selecting by. Also, yeah, that is a thing. But I think it's better to have a break, a 5 minutes break, and then we will come back. Yes, let's have a break. Welcome back. I think you got some time for you to relax, and let's start the next session. Are you around? Let me see if you're around and continue. Yeah, I think for some of you, it was a bit hard to understand maybe specificity between inline, ID, class, attribute, or tag name. But I think let's just make it so easy. I will just do something differently, and then you will see from that. If you remember, in the contact page, we made this form, right? So this form is not really good for. So we want to style it. It looks somehow better if we change it a bit, okay? So let's first go to the contacts page, and our plan is to make this form a bit, user friendly. So how can we make it? Contact me. Instead, I just change this to application form. Could be for a job, it could be for anything. So I want this to be in a different line. So if you see, I have here two things. Even I can give them a class and a form group. If you remember, I have how many divs similar? I have many of them. I call them all class name for group. And then again, class name for group. Class name for group. Or group. I'm grouping them. As we made a long form. By the way, you can use this form not for just today, for many cases after this. Once if you have a very good form, you can reuse that form throughout your career by adding some additional feature and by removing also the unnecessary part. Okay, this is long. I can go here, class name, class for group. So why am I applying this name, the same name all over? I need an answer from some of you. Or
to address them all at the same time.
yeah, to address them at the same time and to give them similar style. Instead of just, if I write inline, I have to apply inline every of them, and that will be tiring, and it will be tiring for maintaining or group. Even we have here class name for group. I think now we are done. I go here and I have to write my style over here and create form CSS. Yeah. How do I select that? How do I select a class?
A dot.
A dot followed by the name of the class, right? And curly bracket. What was the name of the class?
The form group.
Form group. Yes. Let's practice by giving it a border. Border, because it was a div, so border to pixel, solid, red. Have you seen? So it was something like this. So this is a separate box. How about if I give them a margin? Margin means to have a space in between, like left, right, top, bottom. Margin, unipixel, for instance, and then you will see it. Have you seen? They are far apart. Okay. But I may not need any margin from the left and the right. So I may say, actually, if I don't need any margin from, so top 0 and right 0, but bottom I may need 20 pixel and again left 0. This is how you give. Have you seen? It goes clockwise. Top, I can write for you here how it goes. Top, right, bottom, left. This is how we comment HTML. Commenting is actually to leave remark or some information on your code, right? Yeah, now I am leaving some information, some not for you to remember how it goes. So now I gave a button for, yes, now it seems we don't need the border, but we can leave it there for some time. Okay, but as you can see, maybe if I want this to be down, so I have to add a break again. Do you think I'm going to add break again to here again for all? No. Okay, then what I can do, I change the label. Label if I am targeting the label, let me check color, and I can change to a yellow. Oh yeah, so I'm sure I'm targeting the label. Okay, great. So, but instead, actually, I change display block. Oh, block. Oh yeah. But do you remember, guys, block element and inline block, block element and non-block element? Don't you remember? Yeah, block it. Yeah, block elements.
Yes, I remember.
Okay, block elements, they take the whole width and they don't allow other elements to come next to them in the left or the right. So by default, label is non-block element by default. Now I'm changing it to block, so it doesn't allow the input to come next to the block. So I want to also add margin bottom might be 5 pixel. 5 pixel is too much. I can go for 3 pixel. And now let's remove this annoying border. If you see there's really a big, 20 pixel is too much between the spaces, we can go down to 10, and even we can make it about 8 pixel, and now it looks somehow okay. Yeah, but as you can see, the label affect all the labels now. Yeah, we should be specific again. It's okay for this, for this, for this, for this. This is okay, but this didn't go well. So we have to come up with a better way of selecting. Yeah, we have to give it some criteria. Instead of maybe the label, we can select actually the input type. Okay. How about if I select instead the input? Now, if I select the input, I may get the same thing, the same result, as you can see. But now the inputs are different. Some are emails, some are text, some are. So I can select them by attribute. Do you remember? Type, and then I can call text. Then only those will be selected, as you can see. The email was not. So can we also select different? Yes, with a comma we can select different, those with a text and email type. Okay, great. As you can see now, the rest are still okay. And now also I can select this also if I want. These are number and then type number, because I want to select this one also. And this one is date time local. It's a bit tedious code, right? Date time local, if you remember. Yeah, now this is what I want somehow. Yeah, guys, if you have any feedback or comment, let me read. Okay, but as you can see, this is too small, right? Oh, why is this? I have no. Okay, so now let's make this somehow bigger. Now we have to select. Yeah, actually it is already selected, as you can see, but we can input width. If you make it 100%, it will take the whole page. Do you want your form to look like this? I don't think so. Do you want to increase also the spacing? Let us just add padding. Do you need to write multiple lines? Can you just make it list? Like text, email number. What do you mean by that?
Like in that, just in that one input type is text. Can't you just write all you want to include in the same line?
Oh,
You
you can.
All different now.
Yes.
No, but I mean, can all the yellow ones be in the one? You know, type is text, email, number, or you need
like
to,
this?
yeah.
No.
No, okay.
Good. A good thinking, but no. Let's add some padding, maybe about 5 pixel padding. It will create. Have you seen now? It has some padding, so it's somehow big. Have you seen it? Yeah, let's make it smaller, but you don't need such kind of a big. Let's just give it about a percentage of about maybe 35%, okay? And then it will be okay size, yeah? Yes. Now we didn't select this text area. Maybe I think I can put it here because we're applying the text area. I'm selecting it. Now the text area is also applied there. So now I think it is easy to fill. You can put your email, company, age, if you want, date of birth, somehow okay. This is also okay for me. This is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. Now let's change the color. How do we change the color of this border, for instance? We can just say border 2 pixel solid green. Yeah, like this. Yeah. Okay. But maybe you want to, whenever you hover, also it should change. Let me just a bit less color. And maybe if we go to just some kind of color, we have some color that's also still too loud color. Let's just make it a bit something like this. Yeah, but I think we need still more padding. I can go up to 8 pixel padding. That would be a bit best spot for, yeah. Now I think I'm okay. Maybe if you want to also make the border a bit smooth instead of sharp border, let's do border radius, right? Border radius. And then if we apply about 3 pixel or 5 pixel, that would be good. Yeah. And then that's actually also applied here because we are using a class. I mean, we are selecting all at once. Okay.
Sorry, but I got lost there. Why did we write those lines? If you show the VS Code,
This one?
the input type, those first 4 lines, what are they for?
Yeah, okay, let me tell you.
I don't understand.
Yeah, okay, let me copy this. Let's ignore this part, yeah? And if you remember, we have such ugly input, right? So we want to apply a style for the inputs, right? We can select just input, yeah, and apply. That's possible. But if we select input, since everything is input, we may see something. Have you seen we destroy this part, the color is big, and we become like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So since we had this problem, then we don't like to select this. We don't like to select this part. We don't like to select this. We don't like to select this. Instead, but these are good. So let's select this, this, and this. So how can we select them? The criteria to select them, actually, we select them by type. Most of them do have text type. This is text type, right? And this is text type. And this is email type. We selected it by email. This is text type. Age, I think by number because the type is number. And date, and we selected it by date, time, local. Those are the criteria we used. And then as you can see, hey, select all the email types, select all the number types, select all the date, time, local, and select the text type. That's why we select that way. Now, if you see, yeah, we just, these are the default, but these are actually styled. And the text area, as you can see, the text area is also selected because this is the text area. Great. So the button. So what kind of, well, how did we make the button? Let's see the button. What is the type? The type is different. Okay. We can select the button also. Input type. Different, and I call it submit. Just color, maybe background color to be sure that most of the time for submission it looks green, right? Yeah, actually we managed to select it, but let's make it also look much better than that. Okay, let's add padding of maybe top.
Sorry.
Yes.
Could you quickly show on the how do I say, in the, if you have it on the contacts page, could you show the code on the, not the style, but in VS Code, you can select the page where it's on, so I can see.
You mean which part? Here?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
when you style the button on CSS,
Yeah.
how have you linked it?
Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, we have a button here. We have this, the input type.
Okay.
And the type is submit.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
And
okay.
Input, this is how. Let's styling the submit button or input. So as you can see, we select type. Since we are specifically targeting it by attribute selection. So background green. Yeah, great. Now we have green, but it's not yet styled. Let's make it somehow add padding. If we add padding 50 pixel, it's really big, by the way. Oh no, this is not anymore a button. So we can add 25 pixel and we can make it look somehow much better. So it's not it's better if we add actually kind of 10 pixel up and bottom and 25 pixel horizontal. This make it look good, much better. And let's add border, maybe border radius 10 pixel, and it looks somehow sharper. And no, it's not good. Maybe 8 pixel is really good somehow. And as you can see, there is this black border, something you don't like. Yeah. So then border maybe none. If you remove, then you are removing that. And again, maybe this color is somehow very kind of dull. So you may just add something lighter. That's not really good, but okay. Much better. And then let's change the color. Maybe if we change the color to white, it might be somehow okay to see. And then font size. Font size. By default, the font size is 16 pixel, but now let's give it 18 pixel. Yes, we add this button. If the border radius is big, most of the time it goes like, 3 and 5 is good. Yes. Now have you seen we specifically apply, but why I select it by attribute? I prefer by something. If you say, you can give it, for instance, you can give it an ID. You can come ID and you may call it a submit button like this. Yeah. And then you come, you just copy and let me just, then instead you can just change to submit button. Yeah, you can do it something like this and it should work. Have you seen it? So you don't have to use attribute. You can use class or ID, okay? Yeah.
Yes.
So now let's learn also hover. When you hover, it would be nice if it is like highlighted, right? Let's do hovering. Okay, so actually I want to select all this. Maybe I can start by just selecting one of it. Or maybe just by selecting input. Input and then hover. And by hover, maybe the color border, maybe it's going to be 5 pixel, the solid green, and you will have a chance to see it. Look, there's nothing happening. But if I go gently, and have you seen this? Yeah, and this is the hover effect. The hover, why there's no there? There is here because this text area, and but at least this should. What did I use to select? Input, right? Now this is, but this should, because it has also input type. This is active. This shouldn't be. This shouldn't be.
But don't you have something that's more specific now that's controlling the other ones?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's some more specific and controlling that, and I do not see it now. Yeah. So this is the kind of things you should take care of. So, but anyway, now you know what does that mean. Now, instead of just selecting in a general way, let's just take this code, and what we are interested in is only this area, right? Select this, guys, write it here, and add hover for all of them. Hover. Hover. Oh, hover. Wait, it's getting uppercase for me. I think sometimes I can do it the lazy way, copy and paste, copy and paste. Yes, and then the curly bracket, and actually we can just take this border and make it a bit brighter when someone is selecting it, yeah? Yes. Have you seen? Now it's much better, right? Because these are the areas which you are, yeah? Because now you're, but when I'm clicking, it's changed, right? That's not the interface you may want. Yeah, it gets black. Wow, why is that? Okay, the reason is actually there is, in addition to border, there is outline. There is remove the outline. Outline none. If I change now, have you seen it's not going to be any more black? Have you seen it? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, I think this is a minor CSS style, which is pretty enough to make this. But as you can see, our form is like somehow to the left, and we have to make sure that this is somehow, let's make it to the middle. So let's see how it looks like. In what section is it? As you see, we can have, for instance, class form section, because we're categorizing it. The form section is wrapping everything here, and if you see also we have we can give it a class. I call it table section, but actually I can also have comment section. As you can see, what this is, what can we call it? I can call it, yeah, I can call it sections. Section, that's very vague name. Or maybe category, you can call it category, just to make it different from that, okay? For one category, and the table section is another category. What do you notice here, guys? I'm giving two names. Have you seen it? The category name is actually a common for all the categories, but table section is just acting like an ID. Do you remember last time? We can create a class and make it act as an ID. Yeah, do you remember? Yes. Okay, so now we can put all the category to the left, or to category, to show you how it looks like. Maybe I can order 5 pixels solid and green, and you will see where it is. Yeah, this is the, as you can see, this is the table, the application form category, and this is the table category. And then we want it to be a bit smaller, how much percent? Width, maybe, 75% is enough. Yeah, 75% of the page. And we want this to be in the middle. Margin, just auto. And if you see now, if we don't need this green, here, have you seen the power of bordering? It will show you where you are, and then you will apply. Yes. And then maybe I want to just add some, I can call section, what was this name of the form section? I want to add margin bottom, and I want to apply 30 pixel. And then you will see I'm creating now a separation between this and this. And let's just remove this bordering, because we're almost kind of ready. It's not bad, right? It's just not bad. Okay. Great. What do you feel, guys?
Looks good.
Yeah? Yeah, so you have a very good application form here, so you can fill it, and then at the end you have something to upload, and the table is just meant there to teach. But now, as you can see now, our footer, it doesn't have anything. But I think at some point we applied some kind of, the social media. Maybe I think it's on the projects. Yeah. Do you remember this? So we have to apply, we have to duplicate this page to every page. So let's go to the project. Yeah. We have to copy this. And maybe I can just copy the whole footer, copy footer, and apply to every page. Yes. Yes. About is not. Yeah. Now, as you can see, but I don't see anything here. Why? I thought I applied it there. Oh yeah, do you know why? Because we don't have the link. We should also apply this link. What was it? Yeah, this link, the font awesome link. You should also attach that font awesome link at the anywhere. It could be here. Again, you drag it at the top and you put it here and drag it up to the top and put it here. And now we should see on every page this and that, on this and this. But maybe, as you can see, scrolling up and down is really not easy. So how about font awesome? If we have a kind of some icon which allow us to push it to the top, icon, arrow. You guys know how to select a row nowadays. Maybe you can select any of the arrows. Maybe I prefer this one and add it there again, but I have to add it to every page. You copied it, and then where am I now? At the about at list. There is div here, there is div here. I want to select it, I want to put it in a different div. Put it here. And then I have to copy this and apply to every page. That is the problem of working with CSS. But if you are working with JavaScript or React, you don't have to copy to every page. You put it in one place and it works. Yeah. Just to inform you that that's much easier. Oh yeah, even now I forgot to apply something before even I do that. Let me show you. We are in the home, and if you are in the home, if you click this one, it should take you to at the top. Yeah, that's the plan. Guys, so can we take another extra 10 minutes to wrap up and to just make it meaningful somehow with something we started? 10 minutes only. Yeah, I need at least 10 choice. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Let's just then. So whenever you click here, it should take you to the top. But now this is short already. But if you go to on the projects page, when you click it here, yeah. So how can you connect them? Okay. Actually, you give it an ID. Let's give it an ID here. No, it's not an ID, sorry. You add href hash root. Do you remember this root? we gave a root ID somewhere. Do you remember?
Yes.
At the top, we gave it an ID at the top here. So whenever you click it, it goes to the, now let's see. Oh, no, which page am I applying? This is a projects page, and let's see what's wrong with that. Okay, href and the root, and let me see if we have div id root. Oh, it should. Projects.
But should it have the
Yes,
link?
yes, yeah, that's good. Thank you. I forgot to apply the href.
Yeah.
Href, and we wrap this everything here. Sorry, guys, I forgot the href, and this should be inside the href, not here. Yeah. And it push it all the way up because there's no any way you can apply a link without href. By now, it should really work. Now, well, where is our?
You didn't end that A line. You need that. You did end that.
Maybe because I am, okay, let's try to, if it's around here. Yeah, it's there. We don't see it, but it is, yeah, it's there because it might have some white color, okay? So we may try, I will fix it. So the reason why, just to see it, when something happens like that, color, for instance, make it red, something like this, and you may see it. Have you seen it? This is a kind of a common problem. If something happens to you like that, you don't see it because some CSS affected this and affected it to be white, and I couldn't manage to see. And let's remove this content, which apply it at some point, and even it's outside the HTML. Oh no. Okay, so I think for this, since we have enough, let's just apply this to all the pages, project, footer, and the contact again, footer, and this one also to the footer. Yeah, so now we should have some kind of, the problem is I made it red, I should have made it somehow different. So let's, just to clean up, let's remove things we don't need here. This part is okay, but we don't need this text, and then I only keep this image. Okay, so let's go to the index page. As you remember, I tried to categorize everything in some kind of pattern. So we have this actually section. So that's also section, it's okay. And this is a section, and this is another section. But this seems is something we don't need, but we can give it also a name, class name, section ID, some kind of front end. Maybe I can have and H1 and this one And we don't need any kind of styling here. I think it seems good. I'm just cleaning, as you can see. And this div is the wrapper. And if you want another more of like the div, and if you remember, we have also the backend technologies section and ID backend, just and then we have, undo that. We can add H1 and the backend and the image of the backend technologies. To make it faster, I can copy this. And what is this logo? It should be here, HTML, JavaScript logo. And nothing surprising, guys. I'm just cleaning the code here and paste it. I think for backend technologies, we may have, for instance, Node somewhere. So I can change this to Node logo. And this has to be changed to Node logo. And then again, MongoDB, as you can see there, MongoDB, and change it to MongoDB. What's the purpose of alt? MongoDB. And we don't have to have 3. What was the purpose of alt? As you can see now, it's just getting somehow better, but the footer is just something like that. So let's add, as you can see, we have the header. The header and the footer are similar. So how about just adding the header? Yeah, no, footer makes this footer. So as you can see now, the footer has something like this. Yeah, but guys, do you want this space at the top? You may not need this space, yeah? So let me show you a trick. Star. You can use a star. Do you know this star selects every element in your HTML? Okay. Color, for instance, blue. It changed everything to blue. Have you seen it? Everything. It selects all elements. So we call it universal selectors. Yeah. Universal selector. Everything will be. Of course, now also the specificity will apply, but if there is no, so yeah. But we don't want to apply, but since the body margin, we can remove the margin that. So margin 0 in all sides, that remove the margin. Have you seen now? The margin is removed. Yeah, it looks much better. Okay, but now still, I didn't like this gray background, and I may apply some just different color. And is it still red for this? Yeah, we don't even, it's not very good to have this red color. We just change some gray color is much better than that. Yeah, for the time being, or maybe some kind of, yeah. And for the header also, some brighter is much better, but I think QC knows much better for that. Let's at least change it to some brighter or something like this. And yeah, now we have something which looks like this. And I think this is the page we are going to build. But have you seen here? Like this is not formatted properly. So to format that properly, actually, instead, if we select this, if you remember, we gave a section ID. Section is not a very good class. So now if I apply that, actually that section was applied to every of the pages. So now even I can change what I have in the here, everything to section, and it will be good. What do we have here? Yeah, for instance, we have something here and put it to section, and the section is actually making great for the styling. And this we used it for to learn, I think, some HTML elements. So by now we don't need that, since we're just okay. Yeah, now we are just cleaning it, and you don't need to have this also, but if you want to keep it still, we have to keep it in a kind of a box, the style we created already, and it will look good. So if you just select this all the way down up to here, and if we put it in section, and it will be, it looks like, yes, now it looks much better. And actually we just give for the horizontal line some padding. You can give it a height or a padding. For padding, adding 5 pixels, for instance, for horizontal to make it bigger. Have you seen? It's somehow bigger now. And you can make it somehow brighter again if you want. Maybe you can make it to this color or less. Okay, it doesn't matter. Now we're just trying to make things. We don't need this HTML5 icon over there, and we just remove it. It looks like it's here. But if you want to limit not to go this all over, if you put it inside here, you can limit the length. Have you seen? Yeah. So you can just make it a bit shorter by put it inside. So the section lengths limit the width of the horizontal line. And we just, this horizontal line is not meant for styling, but to teach how to use also horizontal line. You can use bottom border to create such kind of horizontal line. Do we have more horizontal line? It seems we don't have. But have you seen? It's this horizontal line is just attached to the text. What do you do to make it somehow far from that?
Did you add a margin?
Yes, margin bottom to this text. Oh, it's inside an article, right? I think it's inside an article. So every text is inside an article. Let's see, article, and no, it's a div actually. But it's really good to have inside an article all this. So I can just change to article. Some of them are not in article, but most are in article. So let's go to article if we don't have. Yes, it's not, since I don't see article, margin. Now I'm doing a quick fix, and I can fix something like that. And there will be some spacing. Have you seen now? There is some spacing, and it looks much better. Yeah, guys, I think this is enough for today. For some reason, we didn't manage to cover what we plan to finish, but it's okay. What I would recommend you, go through this material once at least, and remember this, the W3 school, he has lots of CSS properties and tutorials. Just please go through that, and then you will be very familiar with CSS. Yeah, thank you so much. If you don't have any question, I'm done from my side.
Thank you.
I have a question just on the files, given I wasn't in the first lectures. Is it possible to get like the code for the first?
Oh, it could be hard to get, but every code is like, I should have pushed it in a more in a branch way, but at least you can get somehow. Let's see. Winter. I think it is here. So week 1 is here actually. You can get the week 1.
Cool.
But usually but do you know Git and GitHub?
I haven't used that before now.
Oh, what?
I have not used the GitHub.
Okay. If you're familiar, but it's not really go back. But for someone who is familiar with GitHub, what is possible is actually where are the commits? Let me go back. These are the commits first week, and week 3 has been added, and where is week 2? We should have all by the commits. And this is the 4th. As you can see, these are the 4th week. And the 3rd week, the 1st week, where's the 2nd week? I think it's somehow overridden. So it's possible to somehow get from the commit.
Yeah, I think the latest one is.
Yeah, at least the latest one is now we have. So now I'm about to push it. Git status, let's see, git add and git commit, and I call it week 5. And git push. Yeah, now everything will be on this.
And we don't need a password to access it.
You need?
We don't need a password to access it or anything.
You just access. Now I'm sharing the link on Telegram group.
Nice.
Right?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, and you will get the code what we had today. I think the most important is the latest one. And if you just watch the video, the previous videos, it's you will generate the same thing. Yeah. So
perfect.
We have learned also how to generate something like this page.
Yep.
I don't know why it looks like this now, but let me try to update it. Why? But what we have here is different, right? What we have is, but anyway, it will be updated soon. And yeah, I think now it updated it. So we learned also how to generate a page, something like this from GitHub.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, could you show me again how can I see my earlier these commits in GitHub?
Okay, so let me turn off the video and or the recording, and then we will talk about that. Yes.
Thank you.